One touch can lower her guard faster than a perfect speech ever will. Folks, most men overtalk when they're around a mature woman. They try to impress her with stories, achievements, humor, confidence. They think attraction lives in clever words or expensive dates. But here's what they don't understand. A woman who has lived, loved, and lost does not fall for performance. She responds to presence. And presence is felt through touch, not grabbing, not rushing, not awkward patting like you're unsure of your own hand. Intentional touch. A mature woman has strong walls. She has learned to be independent. She has carried weight alone. She has experienced men who moved too fast or disappeared too easily. So when you touch her the right way, calmly, deliberately, with grounded energy, something shifts inside her. Her nervous system softens, her body relaxes, and for the first time in a long time, she feels safe and desired at the same time. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 specific touches that create that shift, backed by psychology, anchored in restraint, designed for men who don't chase but lead. Some of these are subtle. One of them is almost unfair. And the last one has been recommended by therapists for couples on the edge of collapse. If you use them with intention, you won't just create attraction, you'll create emotional imprint. Let's get into it. Number 1. The slow lower back guide. Folks, we start with a touch that looks almost too simple to matter, but it hits a mature woman right where she lives in her nervous system. The slow lower back guide. This is not grabbing. It is not steering her like property. It is a light, confident hand placed on the lower part of her back as you guide her through a doorway, around a table, or through a crowded room. It lasts a second or two, then it releases. That is the whole point. Controlled contact, then space. Why does it work? Because it communicates protection, direction, and presence without saying a word. A mature woman has spent years carrying her own life. She drives the plan at work, handles problems at home, and keeps her guard up in public because life taught her to. When a man leads her gently through a moment, it can feel like a small exhale, not because she is weak, but because she is finally not doing everything alone for 10 seconds. Here's a real picture. Mark is 53 and runs a small architecture firm in Seattle. Calm voice, steady posture, not trying to impress. Denise is 48, divorced, 2 kids, and she has not trusted many men with her space in a long time. They walk into a busy restaurant on a Friday night. People are moving, chairs are tight, the hostess is talking fast. Mark steps slightly to the side, places his hand lightly at Denise's lower back, and guides her through the narrow gap. No squeeze, no lingering, no awkward apology. Denise feels something click. She is still in control, but she is also being cared for. That combination is rare for a woman who is always the capable one. Now, most men ruin this because they rush it or overdo it. They slap her back like a buddy. They press too hard, or they touch and then pull away like they feel guilty for having a hand. That kind of hesitation reads as insecurity, and insecurity kills trust. The Stoic angle here is simple, my friend. Do less, but do it with intention. A Stoic man does not fidget. He does not ask for permission with his eyes. He reads the moment, respects the boundary, and moves with quiet certainty. When your internal state is calm, your touch feels calm. When your internal state is anxious, your touch feels anxious. Also, pay attention to her signals. If she is leaning toward you, smiling, making easy eye contact, and staying close, this touch lands naturally. If she is stiff, pulling away, or keeping distance, you do not force it. Strength is restraint. And notice what this touch sets up. It creates a frame where you lead without controlling. That is sexual polarity in a mature form. It is not teenage flirting. It is a man showing he can handle space, handle timing, and handle her without needing to dominate her. Later, when the night progresses, Denise is more relaxed. She laughs a little easier. She stays nearer when you walk. That is not magic. That is her body registering this man is steady. If you want to lead without being pushy, Drop this in the comments. I lead with calm. Stay with me because the next touch looks even smaller, but it creates a deeper bond when she is used to men being distracted. Number 2. The two-handed hold. Let's move into something that looks innocent, but hits much deeper than most men realize, folks. The two-handed hold. Not the lazy one-hand grip while you scroll your phone with the other. Not the distracted squeeze while you're thinking about something else. I'm talking about taking her hand in both of yours, fully, intentionally, holding it for a few seconds longer than expected, looking at her when you do it. This is presence. A mature woman can feel when a man is half there. She has dated men who nodded while checking notifications, men who touched her without really connecting, men whose bodies were close but whose attention was somewhere else. So when you take her hand with both of yours, you're signaling something rare, undivided attention. There's a psychological reason this works. Bilateral touch, both hands engaged, activates a sense of grounding in the nervous system. Therapies like EMDR use bilateral stimulation to calm trauma responses and increase emotional processing. Now you're not performing therapy, but you are triggering something similar. When both of your hands wrap around hers, her body reads it as containment, stability, safety. But here's the key. Your energy must match the gesture. If your hands are warm, but your eyes are darting around the room, the moment collapses. A Stoic man embodies alignment between mind and body. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to be fully present in the task at hand. In this case, the task is simple. Hold her hand, feel her hand, stay there. You don't rush it. You don't squeeze too hard. You let the moment breathe. Picture this scenario in your mind. You're sitting across from her at dinner. Conversation slows. There's a pause. Instead of filling it with words, you gently reach across the table, take her hand in both of yours, and hold it. You look at her not intensely, just steadily. No speech needed. That silence does more than a paragraph ever could. For a mature woman, this kind of touch can feel disarming. Because it's not sexual in a crude way. It's intimate. It says, I'm here with you, not performing, not rushing, not trying to impress. And that's rare. Now, let's be clear about boundaries. If she pulls back, you release immediately. Strength includes sensitivity. Stoicism is not force, it's awareness. Epictetus taught that we must understand what is in our control and what is not. Her comfort is not something you override. You respond to it. When she does stay, when she keeps her hand in yours, something shifts. Her breathing slows. Her shoulders soften. That two-handed hold creates a pocket of emotional safety inside a noisy world. And here's where sexual polarity quietly builds. Because when a woman feels safe and seen, desire doesn't disappear. It deepens. Safety allows anticipation to grow without fear. Most men think seduction is escalation. Mature attraction is containment. The two-handed hold communicates, I am steady enough to hold space for you without rushing toward the outcome. If you understand the power of presence over performance, drop this in the comments. I stay present. Stay with me, because the next touch moves from hands to something even more intimate. And when done right, it melts tension without a single word. Number 3. The forehead pause. Let's slow this down, folks, because this one is not flashy, it's not loud, it's not sexual in the obvious way. But for a mature woman, the forehead pause can hit deeper than a kiss. Here's what it looks like. You're close, maybe after a laugh, maybe after a quiet moment. Instead of rushing in for a kiss, instead of escalating fast, you gently place your forehead against hers. You pause there. 2 seconds. 3. You breathe. Then you either kiss her softly or pull back with a slight smile. That pause changes everything. Why? Because it creates emotional intimacy before physical escalation. Most men skip this. They treat closeness like a race. Lean in, seal the deal, get confirmation. But a mature woman has experienced men who rush, men who use touch to take. The forehead pause signals something different. Containment. Let me give you a real example. Kevin is 55, recently out of a long marriage, rebuilding his confidence. He's dating Laura, 50, who has been single for years and guards her emotional space carefully. After their fourth date, they're standing outside her car. There's chemistry. It's obvious. Laura expects the standard move, either a quick kiss or an awkward hesitation. Instead, Kevin steps close, places his hand lightly at her waist, and gently brings his forehead to hers. No words, just presence. Laura later describes that moment as unexpectedly intimate. Not because it was dramatic, because it felt intentional. He wasn't trying to take something, he was sharing space. That's the difference. The forehead is vulnerable territory. It's near the eyes, near the mind. It's not a purely sexual zone. It's emotional. When you pause there, you're saying, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not nervous. I'm here with you. And that calm restraint does something powerful. Psychologically, close facial proximity activates bonding circuits. Eye contact at that distance increases oxytocin. Slowing the moment instead of rushing it reduces anxiety and builds anticipation. Anticipation fuels desire. But here's the critical rule, my friend. The energy must be steady. If your breathing is frantic or your body tense, she'll feel it. A Stoic man controls his tempo. Marcus Aurelius practiced responding with intention, not impulse. This is the same principle applied physically. You choose the moment. You don't let nerves choose it for you. Also, read her signals. If she's leaning in, holding eye contact, staying close, this works beautifully. If she stiffens or pulls away, you respect that immediately. Strength includes sensitivity. Now, here's why this matters specifically for mature women. Many of them have spent years being the strong one, the logical one, the composed one. The forehead pause invites softness without forcing it. It allows her to drop the guard for a few seconds. And those seconds imprint. Kevin didn't need to overtalk after. He kissed Laura softly, then stepped back with composure. No bragging, no commentary. That restraint amplified the moment instead of flattening it. If you rush, you create pressure. If you pause, you create depth. That's the shift. If you understand the power of slowing down instead of speeding up, drop this in the comments. I control the pace. Keep watching because the next touch is more daring. When done correctly, it builds trust and desire at the same time. When done wrong, it ends the date immediately. And most men have no idea how fine that line really is. Number 4. The back of her neck touch. Now we move into more dangerous territory, folks. This one is powerful, and if you misuse it, it backfires instantly. The back of her neck touch is not casual. It is intimate. It sits right between trust and desire. That is why timing is everything. The back of the neck is a highly sensitive area. Nerve, dense, vulnerable. It's close to the spine, close to the brain. When touched correctly, it can trigger both comfort and arousal at the same time. Dopamine and oxytocin can rise together. That combination creates attachment and desire in the same breath. But hear me clearly. This is never a first date move. This is never random. This only happens when emotional safety is already established. A mature woman guards that area instinctively. If she does not trust you, your hand there will feel invasive. If she does trust you, the same touch can feel electric. So how is it done? You are close. Maybe standing side by side. Maybe walking slowly. Your hand moves gently to the back of her neck, just below the hairline. Not grabbing, not squeezing, just resting there for a moment. Your thumb can move slightly slowly. Then you either guide her closer or release. Slow, deliberate, confident. This touch says something primal. I am here. I am steady. I can handle closeness without losing control. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to act with discipline rather than impulse. That principle matters here. If this touch comes from impatience, she will feel it. If it comes from grounded presence, she will melt into it. The back of the neck is connected to vulnerability. When a mature woman allows you there, she is allowing trust. She is letting down armor built from past disappointments. That is not something you rush. And here is the warning most men need to hear. If she stiffens even slightly, if her shoulders rise, if she leans away, you remove your hand immediately. No hesitation, no ego. Stoicism teaches control of self, not control of others. You respect her boundary without drama. When done correctly, this touch creates a layered effect. Her body relaxes forward slightly. Her breathing changes. There is a quiet shift from conversation into connection. Words become secondary. It is not aggressive. It is contained dominance. Mature attraction is not about overwhelming her. It is about leading energy calmly. The back of the neck touch, when timed right, signals masculine steadiness without force. But this requires discipline. And discipline is not learned in one video. If you want to master presence, timing, and emotional control at a deeper level, consider joining the membership. Inside, we break down masculine restraint, attraction, psychology, and Stoic leadership in ways most men never study seriously. Because without internal control, external touch means nothing. If this resonates with you, write this in the comments. I move with intention. Let's keep going, because the next touch looks almost invisible. And that is exactly why it becomes almost unfair in the effect it has on her. Number 5. The quiet thumb stroke. Now we get to the one that almost feels unfair, folks. Not dramatic, not bold, not obvious. The quiet thumb stroke. This is not a big gesture. It happens when you're already holding her hand. Maybe you're walking. Maybe you're sitting close. Maybe your fingers are loosely intertwined. And instead of squeezing or talking, your thumb slowly moves across the back of her hand. Once, maybe twice. Then it stops. That's it. Small movement. Massive impact. Why does this work so well, especially with a mature woman? Because it feels unforced. A mature woman has experienced men who try too hard. Grand gestures, over-the-top intensity, fast escalation. The quiet thumb stroke is the opposite. It's subtle, it's controlled, it feels unconscious even when it's intentional. Let me paint a real picture. David is 57, widowed, emotionally steady but reserved. He's been dating Sandra, 52, who hasn't let many men close in years. They're at a small jazz bar in Chicago, sitting side by side. Their hands naturally come together on the table. David doesn't say anything big. He doesn't try to make a moment out of it. He just slowly moves his thumb across the back of her hand while listening to her talk. Sandra pauses mid-sentence, not because it startled her, because it registered. The back of the hand and fingers are filled with sensitive nerve endings. Slow light strokes activate tactile fibers that connect to the insular cortex, the part of the brain involved in emotional awareness and bonding. This isn't guesswork. The body interprets slow, gentle touch as intimacy, not threat. That's the key. It doesn't feel like you're trying to take something. It feels like you're present. And presence is rare. Most men grip too tight, or they don't move at all. They hold hands like it's a formality. The quiet thumb stroke introduces warmth without pressure. It creates a low current of intimacy under the surface of conversation. Sandra later admitted that small gesture felt more intimate than any compliment David had given her, because it wasn't performative. It felt natural. Here's the Stoic layer, my friend. Discipline in small actions reflects discipline in larger ones. Marcus Aurelius focused on doing ordinary things with extraordinary intention. This is that principle applied physically. You are not rushing. You are not escalating aggressively. You are deepening. But timing matters. If she's tense, distracted, or emotionally distant, this touch won't land. If she's relaxed, leaning in, maintaining eye contact, it becomes powerful. And here's what makes it almost unfair. It's private. No one else notices. It creates a bubble, a subtle connection that feels like it belongs only to the two of you. That exclusivity strengthens attachment. David didn't stare at Sandra afterward. He didn't comment. He kept listening. That restraint amplified the impact. When you draw attention to it, you dilute it. Slow, controlled, intentional, then back to normal. If you overuse it, it becomes nervous fidgeting. If you rush it, it feels needy. But when you place it correctly, it creates a steady build of desire that doesn't feel forced. If you understand the power of subtle intimacy, drop this in the comments. I value the small moves. Stay with me because the next touch shifts from subtle to bold in a very quiet way. And when done right, it makes her feel wanted without a single word being spoken. Number 6. The silent pull closer. Now we step into something that feels bold, but only when it's done without force, folks. The silent pull closer. No announcement, no dramatic line, no "come here." Just a calm, deliberate movement where you draw her slightly closer to you. Maybe by the hand, maybe at her waist, maybe when she's standing beside you and you gently guide her into your side. And then you say nothing. That silence is the power. A mature woman has heard every verbal escalation in the book. She knows when a man is trying to create a moment. What disarms her is when the moment simply happens. Psychologically, proximity seeking is one of the strongest signals of bonding. When you pull someone closer without tension, without urgency, you communicate desire and security at the same time. The body interprets that as alignment, not neediness, not dominance. Alignment. But here's the distinction that separates strength from awkwardness. The pull must be smooth, measured, confident. If it feels jerky or hesitant, it reads as insecurity. If it feels aggressive, it reads as control. The Stoic man operates in the middle, intentional but restrained. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should act with purpose, not impulse. The silent pull closer is purpose. You are not reacting to anxiety. You are choosing closeness. Picture this in your mind. You're walking together at night. Conversation slows. There's space between you. Instead of filling it with words, you gently take her hand and draw her slightly closer to your body as you continue walking. No comment, no smirk, just steady presence. That movement says, I want you closer, not because I'm afraid you'll leave, because I enjoy you here. That difference matters. When a mature woman feels chosen without pressure, her guard softens. She is used to independence, used to self-containment. When you close distance calmly, you create a pocket of intimacy without negotiation, and silence amplifies it. Epictetus taught that we cannot control external events, only our responses. In attraction, that means you do not over-explain your desire. You express it through controlled action. Words can be doubted. Energy is felt. Now let's talk about timing. This works when emotional rapport is already there, when she's relaxed, when she's leaning in during conversation, when her body language is open. If she stiffens, you release instantly. Strength includes awareness. The silent pull closer works because it feels decisive but not desperate. It carries masculine direction without dominance, and mature women respond to that balance. Also notice what you are not doing. You are not asking for reassurance. You are not checking if she approves of every movement. You are leading with subtlety. That leadership builds polarity. And here's the deeper layer. When you pull her closer and then continue the conversation, normally you communicate emotional control. You are not overwhelmed by proximity. You are comfortable with it. That steadiness increases attraction because it signals internal stability. If you want to build closeness without talking it to death, write this in the comments. I lead without words. Stay with me because the final touch looks simple on the surface, but it has been recommended by relationship therapists for couples on the edge of collapse. And when done right, it doesn't just spark attraction, it deepens attachment. Number 7. The 20-second hold. Now we come to the one that sounds almost too simple to matter, folks. The 20-second hold. Not a quick hug, not the polite one tap on the back, not the half-second squeeze before pulling away. I'm talking about a full embrace that lasts long enough for her body to actually register it. Around 20 seconds. Most men never hold that long. Here's why this matters. Research shows that sustained hugs increase oxytocin and lower cortisol. Oxytocin builds bonding. Cortisol drops stress. Relationship therapists, including couples experts, often recommend a 20-second hug daily because it resets emotional tension and increases connection. Now imagine what that does in early attraction when it's genuine. Let me give you a real scenario. Tom is 58, retired military, emotionally reserved but steady. He's dating Angela, 54, a successful consultant who has spent decades being the strong one. After their 5th date, they're standing outside her house. The night was calm. Conversation flowed. There's chemistry, but it's not chaotic. It's grounded. Tom steps in and hugs Angela, but he doesn't rush. He wraps both arms around her firmly but gently. No squeezing, no wandering hands, just presence. He holds her. She initially expects him to release after a few seconds. He doesn't. He stays. At about the 10-second mark, her shoulders drop. At 15 seconds, her breathing shifts. By 20 seconds, something changes. She melts into it. Why? Because mature women rarely get to stop being strong. They carry careers, families, responsibilities. A sustained hold communicates something powerful without words. You don't have to carry everything in this moment. That is not weakness. That is relief. Here's where men sabotage this. They get uncomfortable. They laugh it off. They pat her back repeatedly. They pull away too soon because silence feels awkward. But silence in a hug is not awkward. It's connective. Marcus Aurelius wrote about enduring discomfort with composure. Holding someone fully without filling the space with nervous chatter is a form of emotional endurance. You stay steady. You breathe slowly. You don't rush the release. And here's the deeper layer, my friend. This kind of embrace creates safety first, desire second. When a woman feels deeply safe in your arms, her nervous system opens instead of guards. And when the guard drops, attachment forms. Angela later told Tom that hug felt different from any she'd had in years. Not because it was sexual, because it felt solid, grounded, like she could let go for a second. That's rare. But timing matters. This is not a first meeting move. It's earned through connection, eye contact, shared vulnerability. If she's stiff, distracted, or distant, you don't force duration. You read the energy. The 20-second hold is not about squeezing tighter. It's about staying longer. Slow breath, calm posture, quiet strength. If you understand the power of steady presence over flashy moves, drop this in the comments. I stay steady. Because when a mature woman feels safe enough to rest in your arms, that's not just attraction. That's the beginning of deep attachment. Number 8. The protective hand at her waist. Now we move into a touch that blends confidence with containment, folks. The protective hand at her waist. Not gripping, not pulling her like an accessory. Just a calm, grounded hand resting at her waist when you're standing beside her. Maybe at a social event, maybe crossing a street, maybe while introducing her to someone. It's subtle, but it communicates something powerful. Position. The waist is intimate territory. It's closer to her core. When you place your hand there with steady pressure and relaxed posture, you're signaling protection without possession. That distinction matters, especially with a mature woman who has spent years defending her autonomy. A reactive man grabs. A grounded man places. Psychologically, waist contact activates awareness of closeness and alignment. It signals partnership. It says we move as one unit in this moment. That feeling of unity, when done with calm leadership, builds both safety and attraction. But hear this clearly. The energy must be clean. If your hand feels tense, if you're scanning the room for approval, if you're using her body to prove something, she will feel it instantly. Mature women are highly attuned to intention. They have years of pattern recognition behind them. Marcus Aurelius emphasized acting with integrity, even when no one is watching. The protective waist touch must come from that same integrity. You're not performing dominance, you're expressing steady presence. Timing is critical. This works best in motion. Walking through a crowded space, standing at a bar where people brush past, greeting friends at a gathering. The hand rests lightly, guiding her slightly closer into your side, not squeezing, not wandering, just anchoring. And here's what it communicates on a deeper level. You are comfortable claiming space, not aggressively, but confidently. When you draw her slightly into your frame, you're telling her body, "I've got you here." For a mature woman who is used to standing on her own, that can feel surprisingly grounding. Now let's address the mistake most men make. They either avoid the waist entirely out of fear, or they grip too tightly and hold too long. Both are errors. Stoic restraint means knowing when to engage and when to release. The touch should feel natural, not staged. Epictetus taught that freedom comes from mastery of self. When you are internally stable, your external movements become smooth. The protective waist touch should look effortless because it is rooted in calm. Also, pay attention to her feedback. If she leans slightly into you, relaxes her hip closer, or places her hand on your chest or back, that's receptivity. If she shifts away, you respect that instantly. The goal is not control, it's alignment. Sexual polarity builds when a woman feels both protected and respected. Too much force kills respect. Too much distance kills polarity. The waist touch sits right in the middle, and here's the subtle power. When you release your hand after a few seconds, you leave behind a trace of warmth, a memory in her body. That lingering sensation deepens attachment over time. If you understand the difference between protection and possession, drop this in the comments. I lead with strength. Let's keep going because the next touch moves even closer to her face. And when done with restraint, it creates a level of emotional closeness that most men rush past too quickly. Number 9. The calm face touch. Now we're stepping into one of the most intimate gestures you can make without crossing into overt sexuality, folks. The calm face touch. This is not grabbing her jaw, not forcing her chin upward, not dramatic movie behavior. It's simple. Your fingers lightly brushing a strand of hair away from her face, your thumb resting gently along her cheek for a second. Slow, measured, then release. The face is sacred territory. A mature woman does not let many people near her face. That space is personal, emotional, vulnerable. When you touch it calmly without urgency, you're signaling deep trust and controlled desire at the same time. Let me give you a real scenario. Robert is 56, a finance consultant in Denver. He's dating Elaine, 51, who rebuilt her life after a painful divorce. Elaine is composed, witty, and rarely lets anyone see her softness. One evening, they're sitting close on her couch after dinner. She's telling a story, and a strand of hair falls across her cheek. Robert doesn't interrupt her. He listens. Then, gently, without breaking eye contact, he brushes the strand back behind her ear and lets his fingers rest briefly along her jaw before pulling away. He doesn't say a word. Elaine pauses. Not because she's uncomfortable, because she feels seen. The calm face touch works because it combines tenderness with confidence. It's not rushed. It's not hungry. It's deliberate. Slow touch across the cheek activates sensory nerves connected to emotional processing. The body interprets it as affection, not pressure, and that's critical. Most men either avoid the face completely or rush straight to kissing. They miss the space in between. That space builds anticipation. Anticipation builds depth. Robert didn't lean in immediately after. He stayed grounded, continued the conversation. That restraint amplified the moment. It told Elaine this wasn't a tactic. It was presence. Here's the Stoic layer, my friend. Control of impulse. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. The calm face touch is a physical version of that principle. You are not acting out of impatience. You are choosing timing. But timing matters more here than almost anywhere else. This touch only works when she is already leaning in emotionally. If she's distant, distracted, or unsure, it feels intrusive. If she's holding eye contact, smiling softly, staying close, it feels intimate. And you must move slowly. Fast movement triggers defensiveness. Slow movement signals confidence. There's also something symbolic here. When you touch her face gently, you're showing care without ownership. You're not claiming, you're connecting. For a mature woman who has experienced men who rushed, grabbed, or escalated too quickly, this calmness feels rare. It tells her you are not controlled by desire. You guide it. Later that evening, when Robert finally kissed Elaine, it felt natural, not forced, because the face touch had already softened the emotional barrier. That's the difference between chasing and leading. If you understand the power of restraint over impulse, drop this in the comments. I move with control. Stay with me, because the final touch brings everything together, and when done right, it leaves an imprint long after the night ends. Number 10. The lingering goodbye embrace. Let's end this where real attachment is either sealed or lost, folks. The goodbye. Most men treat the end of the night like logistics. Quick hug, quick kiss, text me when you get home. Then they step back too fast. The energy drops. The tension dissolves. The moment becomes ordinary. The lingering goodbye embrace is different. This is not just a hug. It is a closing imprint. You step in fully. Arms wrap around her with calm firmness. Your chest aligns with hers. You breathe slowly, and instead of counting seconds in your head, you stay until the moment naturally settles. Not 20 seconds, like the bonding hold we talked about earlier. This one is about intention, not timing. It's about the way you release. Let me show you what that looks like. Greg is 59, semi-retired, emotionally composed, not flashy. He's been seeing Monica, 53, who hasn't felt genuinely connected to someone in years. They've had a strong evening. Laughter, depth, subtle chemistry. Now they're standing by her car. Greg pulls her in, not tight, not possessive, just steady. His hand rests along her upper back, the other at her waist. He doesn't rush. Monica initially expects him to let go quickly. He doesn't. Instead, he slightly shifts his head closer to hers. Not kissing yet, just proximity. His hand moves slowly once along her back, then stops. Stillness. That stillness is the key. When you don't rush the goodbye, you communicate something powerful. I am not desperate to extend this. I am not afraid of ending this. I am confident enough to let the moment breathe. Psychologically, the final touch of an interaction carries disproportionate weight. The brain remembers endings vividly. A lingering embrace anchors the entire evening in warmth. It leaves her nervous system regulated and slightly craving more. But here's the subtle layer, my friend. The release must be smooth. You don't snap away. You don't step back abruptly. You slowly loosen your arms, maintain eye contact, maybe brush her cheek lightly with your thumb, or let your hand slide gently down her arm as you step away. Controlled exit. That controlled exit creates anticipation. Monica later admits that what stayed with her wasn't the dinner conversation. It was how Greg ended the night. She felt chosen but not claimed, desired but not pressured, held but not trapped. That balance is everything. Marcus Aurelius practiced finishing each action cleanly without clinging. The lingering goodbye embrace follows that same principle. You give fully in the moment, then you release without anxiety. And here's why this works so deeply with a mature woman. She has experienced rushed endings, awkward half-hugs, men who overstay, men who pull back too soon out of fear. A calm, steady goodbye signals emotional maturity. You are not trying to secure the next date with force. You are leaving her with a feeling, and feelings linger longer than words. If you rush the goodbye, you flatten tension. If you cling too long, you create discomfort. But when you hold pause, breathe, and release smoothly, you leave an imprint that plays back in her mind long after she closes the door. That is how a night ends, with gravity instead of confusion. And that gravity is what makes her want to step back into your arms again. Today we broke down something most men completely overlook. Not flashy lines, not over-the-top seduction, but intentional touch. The kind that regulates her nervous system, lowers her guard, and builds attachment slowly instead of forcing attraction. From the lower back guide to the quiet thumb stroke, from the silent pull closer to the lingering goodbye, embrace, every move we discussed is rooted in presence, restraint, and stoic control. This isn't about grabbing, it's about leading. It's about making a mature woman feel safe and desired at the same time. That balance is rare, and rare is remembered. If you want to go deeper into emotional discipline, masculine presence, and attraction, psychology built on Stoic principles, join the membership. Inside, we sharpen the mindset and control that most men never develop. And if this kind of content speaks to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is where we build calm, grounded, high-value men every single day. Thank you for being here, folks. I appreciate your time. I'll see you tomorrow.